What would you say is the theme? I mean, there's so much that we still have to get through before we get to the end. So what would you say? Last season you told me it was very Shakespearean. What would you say the theme of this season is?
The theme is what Arthur Miller says. It's the theme of every drama. You know what that is? The chickens come home to roost. So all the things that we've done, most of which have been bad, over 7 seasons, eventually people have to pay. And that happens on an individual level with many of our characters, and it happens on a sort of meta level for the show. We've gotten away with a lot of shit. I mean, I'm not just talking about shooting 12 Chinese people in a warehouse. I mean, we've gotten away with stuff that would probably, in the real world, I just don't think could go on nearly as long as this. I mean, if you think about it for a heartbeat. So in the final season, people have to pay, and they will.
What is it like this season losing? You know, you lost 2 such great characters last season with Maggie and Ron being gone. What was it like that first week or first 2? Was it odd not having them around? Like, how was the feeling?
Not so much.
Did you kind of get your goodbyes last season?
Well, I miss Maggie Siff. Maggie Siff is such a strong presence on the show, and she was so great with her kids and with us as a crew. I mean, part of my job is I have a crew of 200 people that I have to sort of marshal to do Sons of Anarchy every episode in 7 days. And so the actors' relationship to the crew, which you guys probably don't talk too much about because you're all interested in the writing, is really a big dynamic that influences. And when actors are assholes, it becomes problematic. And when actors are great and sensitive and prepared, it makes a huge difference. And there's not a day that we shot Maggie Siff when she didn't make the crew happy, where she didn't make the directors happy, where she didn't make everybody involved want to be on this show. She came and visited the set with her baby, and it stopped the shooting because everybody loves her so much. It's very much like Jimmy Smits and NYPD Blue when I did that show. When Jimmy Smits left at NYPD Blue, there was a hole in our heart in the show, and a little bit of a hole in the show too, I might add. But definitely a hole in our heart because the crew loved it as much as you guys, the fans did, but the crew did too. Maggie Siff is very similar in that loss and that scene in which she was killed, which took 2 days to shoot, was heartbreaking for all of us. Heartbreaking for Katie Segal. It was very difficult to get her to the level where she could kill Maggie Siff's character because they were really close friends. They became really important to the show. So that's probably the biggest loss for me.
What can you say about bringing Walter back? Is he in very many of the episodes?
So excited. I'm a big fan of Venus Van Dam. I mean, the breasts cost $6,000 every time he shows up at the show because they look good. But he is so committed to the part. I mean, he comes to the set as Venus. I mean, you forget. I mean, I've known Walton Goggins. He was in a movie I did for HBO called The Cherokee Kid, way before The Shield and everything else. So I've known him for a really long time. And then he comes as this woman, this shapely, bodacious woman in this accent with the fingernails and the hair. And he's not Walton anymore. And he's kind of lovely in a really sweet way. And he's got this whole mythology in his head about her and how she came to be. And every once in a while we're leaking it out. And this season she talks a little bit more about how she made the transition from where she was to where she is now. And whenever she comes, it's another great example for the show to say, the things you think about a racist biker club, just hating the world, may not be all as simple as that, because they do love them some Venus Van Dam. And some bikers love Venus Van Dam more than other bikers, if you know what I'm trying to say. But they definitely get involved with her, and she becomes a, kind of a sexy linchpin of a couple of stories this season.
This might sound like an odd question, but
no questions on.
You've obviously directed so many episodes of Sons of Anarchy. You've been kind of
14.
Yeah. So when you're filming this season, we know you said death is coming. We're going to lose some characters. How important is it for the shooting process this season to get it right? You know what I mean? To really kind of honor this last season when you're saying goodbye.
It's really important. I mean, but I'm acting as if this is the first season, because I'm expecting a number of people are going to come to see the show who haven't really watched it because of you guys largely talking about it. They're going to say, what is Sons of Anarchy? It's the last season. I should catch up on it. They're going to watch it on the Netflix. They're going to see, and they're going to catch up through the mythology from 1 until now. They might skip 3. But basically, they're going to try to get as much as they can of it. And when they get to this season, I think it should be like a roller coaster ride. So every episode this season is packed with more plot, more story, and more characters than we've done before. It's like Kurt really is getting 2 seasons in one. We don't want to double, supersize it. We don't want to split it over, 2 years just to make more money for the network like Mad Men did. Not that that's bad. But what we do want to do is we want to give the fans some really good, chunky bar kind of style episodes that are really filled with stuff. So, I mean, that's what we're doing. And every episode's been harder to produce because there's more action and there's more drama in each episode, but they've also been more fun and more rewarding. And almost in every episode, someone's dying now, so that makes it a little bit harder to show because we have to keep saying goodbye.
Is there going to be anyone left at the end of the season?
Yes, there will be someone left.
Someone left. Okay, good.
Well, more than one, but not a lot.
So there will still be a Sons of Anarchy when it's all said and done. There will still be a club of some sort.
It'll be Son of Anarchy.
There'll be a table, I think. No, the club, I think I can say pretty safely the club will not be the same at the end of the season. And it's not like we're trying to, save everything and set it up like we're going to do a movie like everybody else does. Oh, we got to keep people alive because we're doing a movie. The story that Kurt wants to tell ends up with the chickens coming home to roost. So bad things are going to happen. It's like The Godfather. I mean, not too many people that you saw at the beginning of The Godfather are there at the end.
There's so many interesting characters that you could explore a little bit more. Is there one you would have liked to get a little more time with?
Yeah, I always felt that I would like to know Bobby more, actually. I always thought Bobby was a little bit... He's really interesting to me, just as a character and as an actor. And I think I would have liked to have seen some of the stories sort of sideways. I mean, I get a good beat of Kim Coates' Tig. We really definitely know what's happening with Theo. He's been through a lot. He's been black. He's been suicidal. He's been through a lot of changes. Bobby, I felt, has always been a little underserved. We're doing a little bit more with Tommy Flanagan's Chips this year. He's going to step out. He'll have some romance. There'll be a little bit more with him that you'll see. But if I were doing it all over again, I'd like to know a little bit more about what makes Bobby tick. In some ways, he's kind of one of the most authentic biker kind of characters in the posse. And I would love to see more of him.
Sorry, guys.
That's it.
Thank you.
That was